The yesterday man. The problem with working in memory reclamation was not the smell of the sterile gel or the hum of the neurolinks. It was the leakage. Elias Thorne sat in a booth at the Electric Sheep, a bar that served cheap gin and synthetic nostalgia, trying to quiet the screaming in his prefrontal cortex. As a technician for Mnemosyne Corporation, Elias's job was to scrub the psychic residue from second-hand neural implants before they were resold to the lower classes. But today, Elias had found something that should not exist, a memory of a blue-eyed girl named Sarah, feeding a golden retriever in the park. The problem? The park was in Sector 7, a region that had been a radioactive crater for 40 years, and the girl, Sarah, was wearing a Mnemosyne Corp employee badge with a date stamped July 14, 2029. Today was May 22, 2026. The architecture of a counterfeit soul. Elias went back to his workshop, a cramped space filled with discarded identity modules. He pulled up the girl's file and the PKT universe. The question is not whether you are being followed. It is whether the you being followed is actually you. He ran a Heisenberg uncertainty diagnosis on the memory file. In quantum mechanics, observing a particle changes its state. In neurocoding, observing a memory usually degrades it. But this memory was getting sharper. He looked at the entropy levels of the data stream. If information is physical, as Landau's principle suggests, then erasing a bit of information releases heat. Delta E equals kBT. Lend 2. Elias touched the cooling fins of the mainframe. They were ice cold. The machine was not erasing the memory. It was drawing energy from the future to manifest it. The customer, who wasn't. The bell above the shop chimed. A man walked in. He wore a trench coat that looked like it was made of liquid shadows. He looked exactly like Elias, only 20 years older, and with a jagged scar running across his throat. "You found the Sarah file," the man said. It was not a question. "Who are you?" Elias reached for a heavy-duty soldering iron. "And how did you get a memory from 2029 into a 2026 model implant?" The man sat down, his movements stiff, like a marionette. "I'm not from 2029, Elias, and neither is she. We are both from the inventory. Mnemosyne does not just sell memories. They rent out identities in waiting. You think you are a technician who grew up in the suburbs. You are a placeholder, a storage unit for a personality that has not been sold yet." Elias felt a cold sweat prickle his neck. "I have a birth certificate. I have a mother in Ohio." The man laughed, a dry, rattling sound. "Check your mother's 499 number. It is the same as the serial number on the toaster in your break room. They do not build people anymore, Elias. They build narratives. And your narrative is about to be overwritten by a high-paying client who wants a struggling technician backstory for their next vacation. The paranoia of the block universe. According to the block universe theory, the past, present, and future all exist simultaneously in a four-dimensional loaf of space-time. To Mnemosyne Corp, this was not physics, it was a filing system. "If I'm a placeholder," Elias whispered, "then what happens when the client arrives? The you that is sitting here is deleted," the man explained. But the data, the Elias persona, gets compressed and sold as a vintage experience for bored aristocrats in the Mars colonies. You become a 3-minute thrill of authentic 21st century anxiety, the escape into the glitch. Elias realized he could not fight a corporation that owned the timeline, but he could introduce noise. He grabbed the Sarah file, the memory from the future, and began to loop it into his own sensory input. He did not just watch it, he became it. He forced his brain to accept two conflicting realities at once. The scar-faced man began to flicker. The walls of the shop turned into a park in Sector 7. The soldering iron turned into a dog's leash. "You are crashing the system," the older Elias screamed, his body dissolving into digital static. "I am not crashing it," Elias said, his voice overlapping with Sarah's laughter. "I am overclocking it. If I am just data, then I choose to be the bug that breaks the machine." As the Mnemosyne security teams breached the door, they did not find a technician. They found an empty room smelling of ozone and golden retriever fur. On the monitor, a single line of code looped endlessly. "Error. Subject Elias Thorne has entered an unrecoverable future."